Welcome into Conversations with Paul Brown. We are in downtown Anderson. We are on Murray Avenue, and we are at the home of Westar Tire, and our guest is John Gates. Your family goes back 3 generations in Anderson. Before we go back, tell me about you discovering America in Anderson and what you remember about that and where y'all were living.
Well, I understand that my dad was crazy about the fair, and I understand that when I was born at the Anderson Hospital, he rented an apartment on Ella Street because the fairground was across the street where the YMCA used to be, so he could be close to the fair.
And somewhere in there, your mom went to the hospital and had you?
Had me, yes. And then after that, we moved to Whitehall Road and started living.
How many kids are in your family?
3 of us. I had a brother and a sister. Then my mom died when I was young, and my dad remarried and had another half-brother and a half-sister.
From the original 3, where were you? Oldest?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
I'm the oldest.
Growing up back in those days in Anderson, what was it like? You had a bicycle?
Had a bicycle, rode it to school, grammar school, rode the city bus to McCants, and then walked to my dad's store every day to work after I got out of school.
Was school fun for you?
No, I didn't like school. I liked getting out of school and going to work. My granddaddy paid me $5 a day, and that was in junior high school. And at the end of the week, I had $30, and I was living high back in the day.
Tell me about the history, as far as you can remember, about the Gates coming to Anderson.
Well, my granddad started selling bicycles, had a bicycle shop where Dixon's Ice Cream is on Benson Street. And when it took place, I don't know, but he moved the store. He started selling Firestone tires and Texaco gas on the corner of Murray and Whitner. And actually,
what's there now?
The Cahaley building was there. And now it's been torn down, but the sign is actually still on the wall, right, where the store used to be. It says Gates and Smith.
Then your dad got involved in the business?
He graduated from Clemson, and he was in the Marines, and I don't know when he got back, from the war. But what I remember was that I don't remember this shop. I remember the shop when it was on Market Street. That it moved from Murray and Whitner to Market Street. And they had a store, and they sold appliances, guns, hardware. And they had a train. One of my fondest memories is we had a train at Christmas time that ran all the way around in the whole ceiling of the building of the store. An electric train, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they would just put it up at Christmas?
Put it up at Christmas, and they sold toys, and used to have to hire extra help at Christmas to put bicycles together.
That's when bicycles were made in the USA.
Exactly. They were.
Go back to tell me about coming out of school, riding a bus, and then walking to work.
Well, I rode the city bus to the square, and then we walked down to McCants and went to school. Then after school, I'd get out and I'd walk back to my dad's shop, and I would work till time to go home and ride home with him.
So what were the things that you were able to do as a kid coming from McCants and going straight to work for $5 a day? Oh,
wow. Everything. Change tires. I remember when we got our first tire changer. When I first started it, we used spoons and a hammer.
Now explain that to our listeners that may not know.
Well, it was a bolt down to the ground tire changer that you pulled up on one handle to break the bottom of the tire, and you pushed down on another handle to break the top. Then you still took it off manually with an iron bar. And we thought we were in high cotton, buddy.
When you got that
we got that thing, we thought we had something. And now everything is so, remote. Now you just throw it up on there and the machine does all the work.
All right, you changed tires. What else?
Oh, I changed oil, fixed flat tires, did it all. Just whatever he told me to do, I did. Stock tires, put tires up when they come in on the truck.
And you liked that?
I was making $5 a day, Paul. Yes, sir, buddy.
Was it significant, John, that this was a family-run operation?
Yes, it was. It was Gates and Chapman. It went from Gates and Smith to Gates and Chapman.
Who was Chapman?
It's Vic Chapman. It was no relationship to Tom Chapman, who is where at Westar now at all. The only closest thing, my dad and Mr. Tom Chapman lived right across the street from one another.
Did they really?
They did. Hmm.
Did any of your brothers and sisters, did they get involved in the business?
No, I was the only one that stayed in the business. And in 1967, my dad and my granddaddy, Mr. Chapman, built the store that is down on South Murray Avenue and River Street. It was a state-of-the-art store. Had a big showroom with appliances, you know, and still had the same thing, all the hardware and everything, tires, alignments, everything.
You were just off the square in downtown Anderson. White Jones was on the south side of town.
Correct.
At one point, that was the place to shop for that kind of stuff.
Oh, it was, yeah, downtown was, there wasn't an Anderson Mall.
Right.
You know, there was a Sears, but that was, you know, it was it. I mean, we put bicycles together for months getting ready for Christmas, had them hanging from the ceiling. If you could probably go in that store in the basement now, I don't know the people that own it now, but there used to be strings hanging from the rafters up there where we'd hang bicycles up in the ceilings.
Firestone
bicycles. Oh yes, sir.
Didn't know that.
Still got a Firestone bicycle.
Were they hard to put together?
No, not at all.
Well made?
Yeah, very well made. Good bicycle. But they did everything there. Had a retread plant. You know, they retreaded tires.
As he got older, you got more involved in the business?
Well, I pretty much ran the business. I worked for my dad and my granddad for 28 years. Right out of high school, I went to work for them. And we had a conversation one day, and he was kind of old school, and I was kind of wanting to change things down there and kind of upgrade and get more modern, and he didn't want to. And, well, Mr. Chapman called me one day and said, I want to talk to you. Will you come by here? And I did, and we made a deal, and I talked to my dad, and I told him what I was going to do, and he didn't believe me. Well, I have a business partner. A lot of people don't know that, but I do, because Ralph stays down in the bottom. Ralph Moore, he's probably one of the finest mechanics in this town, and he had both of us in there, and he said, boys, if y'all want this thing, he said, I'll finance it for you 100%. And that was in 98. And my dad said, well, if that's what you want to do, he said, you give it a try. He told everybody I'd be back in 3 weeks.
But you left your dad down there on Murray Avenue.
1998.
And moved up here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And went in, and then Tom Chapman, he retired.
Oh, he's been dead.
Yeah, and then he died.
Tom died, and David, his son, had it. And then Bill bought David out. And Bill sold it to me and Ralph.
In 1998.
1998. Mm-hmm.
Our guest is John Gates, and when we return, we'll continue our conversation with him. Welcome back to Conversations with Paul Brown. John Gates is our guest. It wasn't easy when you struck out on your own, to say the least. I mean, you had an experience in retail. You knew tires.
Yes.
Were you confident that you and your partner could make a go of it?
There were a lot of sleepless nights. I've been doing tire business all my life, and I knew I could handle my end. And it's the concern was people paying us, because we didn't have a lot of money in the bank when we bought it, because we used most of it, you know, to pay down on the business. But it turned out real well. I mean, it's just been amazing how well. I mean, we try to treat people fair, but no, we haven't had a minute's hard luck at all, except 2008 when things fell off. But we made up a schedule, and everybody took a day off without pay, and they didn't have a problem with it. And my help understood, and they, you know, I got 2 guys still working for me. Been here 21 years with me.
Really?
Yeah. And it's been good.
How has the tire business changed, John, over the decades that you've been involved with it?
Wow. They really came out with the tubeless tire, but back in the day, tires were 13, 14, 15s on passenger tires. Your trucks carried a 16, and your big trucks carried a 20-inch tire. And now, I mean, there's so many sizes of tires out there to rattle your brain. It's just, you can't even imagine the number of size tires.
Why has the automotive industry done that? What's the advantage of having so many different tires?
Well, they've come out with these 20-inch wheels because all the young people want the big wheels and tires on their cars, so they're putting them on their cars, and it makes it hard because you have to keep more tires in stock, and of course they're definitely more expensive, but people buy them, and they got these shiny chrome wheels on their cars, and it's changed immensely since I started.
Back when you started, all the tires were made in America, probably.
There was Firestone and Goodyear. Uniroyal was a separate company. Now Michelin owns Uniroyal. B.F. Goodrich was a separate company. There was Kelly. Of course, there was Fisk. I don't remember Fisk. That was before my time. But yeah, mostly all made in America, except Michelin came along and it was French.
Right.
But everything was pretty much made here in the United States.
And now that has changed.
Goodyear is the only U.S.-owned tire store left. Everything else is foreign-owned, either Japanese or overseas.
And yet, even though Michelin is French-owned, they still make their tires here.
Oh, yes. We got 3 Michelin plants in Anderson. Oh, yeah. I mean, we don't get any tires from the plants. Right. We get them from distributors. But yeah, and actually Anderson County's switching over to Michelin products, which is a wise move on their point, because of the plants here in town.
So now Anderson County vehicles are all going to run Michelin.
They're running Michelins on just about everything, and the city is following suit. They're running B.F. Goodrich Pursuit tires on all their police cars, as the county is, where they were running, Firestone. And now BFG come out with a tire that was approved for Pursuit, and doing really, really well.
From a business standpoint, how difficult is it in this day and age to get young people to come work for you?
Young people don't work, in my opinion, young people don't work, period. There's no work ethics left out there. And, when I came around, I mean, you had to work. My granddaddy and my dad taught me, good work ethics. The gentleman that bought me and Ralph out here, he's got one of the finest crews you could ask for in his town. I mean, they're good people. They're all experienced. They can do anything in the tire business, that needs to be done. We fix anything from a lawnmower tire to one of the biggest tractor tires made, and everybody in my shop can do it.
But as a businessman, just what you said, are you worried about the next generation and finding people to do this kind of work?
This is hard work.
And what kid's going to want to do hard work?
There's nothing easy about the tire business. When it's cold outside, you shiver. When it's raining, you get wet. When it's hot, you sweat. And when Mr. Farmer brings this tire in, he's been plowing out in the cow pasture, well, you can kind of take that to what it looks like when he brings it in, wants you to work on it. And it's heavy. Tires are heavy. It's hard work. It really is.
But where are you going to get kids to want to do that?
You got me. I told somebody the other week, I said, if you could do it by flipping a phone, you'd be in business. But it ain't going to happen.
You mentioned a minute ago about the fact that the business has now changed hands again. Tell me about that and how you fit in to the new organization.
Well, we have sold out to a gentleman out of Simpsonville. He's a super nice guy. His name is Grant Rumsey, and he has come in here, and he promised me he's going to run this business the way I've run it, take care of the customers, and I'm going to be here for the next 6 months to kind of help him along and get him to know the clientele. We probably have 200 commercial customers and thousands of personal customers. I hope he's going to take care of them well. If not, some of them have got my number, and they know they can call me.
What about Mr. Ralph? What's he going to do?
Ralph is retiring also. He's going home and garden and fish and just do whatever.
And how are you going to enjoy retirement? What do you do?
Well, me and my wife, we're leaving for Alaska about 5 days after I retire for a couple of weeks, and me and her hike, and actually I'm going today to buy a fishing boat when I get through talking to you, and put it in the lake. I live on the lake, and start back fishing, and just going to enjoy life. And Grant's asked me to work part-time after I leave, and I said I'd think about it, you know, a couple of days a week if I get bored, but we'll see.
Tell me why your marriage to Ann has been successful. If you were giving some of these kids advice, they came to you and said, look, I'm getting ready to get married. Tell me what I need to do and what I need to do to have a successful marriage. What would your advice be?
You got to have a good woman, first thing, and communication. Communication. We talk. If we ever have a problem, I think probably in the 27 years we've been married, I don't think we've ever had an actual argument. Period. And we just get along.
And talking to each
We
other.
talk. We talk. We sure do. And it's been a good time. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Now, when you get your fishing boat, will she be involved in that?
If she likes. She's going with me today to get it. I got to get approval, you know.
Tell me about doing business in Anderson County. You're born and bred here. From a businessman standpoint, tell me the pros and cons of living in this community.
Well, Anderson's been good to me. I try to take care of my customers. It's just, you know, I know it's right comical because me and my wife can go anywhere. I mean, out of state, and we run into somebody she says that I know because I've been living here all my life. But, you know, as far as business, if you come in and ask me about a set of tires and I see you don't need a set of tires, I'm going to try and talk you out of it. But if you're dead set on it, I'll sure enough put you a set of tires on your car. And I got fleet customers that are begging me to say. I got one guy says he's got a voodoo doll and he sticks pins in it. That's trying to make me stay. So it's just.
But after a career, it's time to move on and do something.
It's time to move on. My wife's been retired for about 3 years now, and I'm just ready to spend some time with her. She's had some health problems about 3 years ago, and she's good to go right now. And I just want to spend every lasting minute I can with her.
That's a great way to end. John Gates has been our guest. We want to thank him for sharing his story with us and his time. We've been at Westar Truck and Auto Center here on North Murray Avenue, and we want to thank John. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and take care, and we'll see you next week.